hello. I don't even know if I just clicked live. I hope you're all doing well tonight. I'm sorry about switching the time back. I was trying to make sure my house was quiet enough for me to go live down here. In fact, let me just, hey, Punkette. Just for a second. Telling my husband he has to turn his phone down. So I'm glad for anybody that can make it in here. I'm not going to do a ton of talking tonight because we're going to dive right in. But so what I'm about to play for you. Robb sent me. So Robb and I are going to start doing some collabing on the Uvalde case situation, and y'all know his cousin was one of the ones that was killed there, and so he interviewed a woman by the name of Louella, and she has granddaughters. Hey, Liberty Farmer, that went to Robb and to the junior high and senior high schools. And so he interviewed her, and it's very impactful, this interview, because there are things in this interview that we didn't know. And so one of Robb's missions here is to bring out things that the media hasn't talked about. And there were things in this that I texted him. I said, "Are you kidding me? I didn't know this happened." And we're about to hear that in this interview. So I fast forwarded it. She just describes who she is, and her and Robb grew up together. And so I fast forwarded to the middle to where we're going to dive into that day for her. So we're going to listen to this. And then, obviously I'll be in chat if you hear anything so that you want to talk about or discuss. But I do think it's important because we hear a lot from the actual, people who lost somebody there. And yep, exactly, Punkette. And obviously that's extremely important. But I also think that it's important to bring out interviews with people who are survivors or who had somebody within the school. And so this is a hard listen. There are things that, like I said, I didn't know a lot of the stuff that was in this interview. And it is a hard listen, and it is emotional, but it's one that's super important. So we're going to just go ahead and dive right into this. And now where we're starting with this is she's talking about the day of and the award ceremony. Yeah.
My house at about 9:45.
So she's talking about that day again.
Which got me to Robb at about 10:15, 10:20.
Okay.
By the time I got there, my granddaughter already had walked the stage. She received her award. And this is my youngest granddaughter. She's what I call my little firecracker. Like, she will call you out. You know me personally, so you know how I am. She's all my attitude, like 100%. So when I get there, I'm looking at her and she's already sitting down. She's already with her dad. And I'm like, "Oh, sweetie, I am so sorry. I missed your award ceremony." And she goes, "Uh-huh." Right. I'm like, I don't, I'm here now, let's take a picture. She did not want to take a picture with me because she was so upset that I missed her ceremony. But, oh no, you went.
I forgot to mention one thing that's actually important. Her granddaughter's name is Ellie, and if you remember correctly, there were an Ileana and an Ellie that were both killed in Uvalde. So that's kind of an important thing to understand. Hey, Bex830, welcome. This is an interview with Louella that Robb Trevino, a friend of mine, just interviewed and gave me permission to share. But thanks for stopping in, and by all means, if it gets too hard and you need to dip out, we understand, and I hope you're doing it the best you can right now. Hey, Pamela.
Went to Ellie's award ceremony and you made it on time for her, but you didn't make it on time for me, So my granddaughter was telling her dad, I want to go home. I want to go home. And apparently she didn't want to go to school on Tuesday. She did not want to go to school on Tuesday, but her parents were like, go to school, get your award, and then after the award ceremony, you can go with your grandmother. Not me, but the other grandmother. Because that was planned. I was just supposed to go to the award ceremony and that's it, you know, come home or do what I had to do because I was going to be busy. Well, I missed her award ceremony. I had to redo my whole day because she's upset that grandma did not see her walk the stage and see her get her award. I'm over here saying, okay, sweetheart, you know what? How about I make it up to you? Let me take you out to lunch. We'll do lunch together. I haven't eaten nothing all day. We'll go wherever you want to go. And then she looks at me. She goes, well, I'm supposed to be with my grandma Esme. And then her other grandmother is there. And I told her, well, can I take you for lunch? And she's like, of course. You know, I mean, I have a great relationship with my comadre also. And she's like, of course. Yeah, take her. You know, whenever you're done, go ahead and bring her to me. So I said, I was like, okay. So I tell my son-in-law, I'm going to take her with me. I said, where do you want to go eat, sweetheart? She goes, I don't know yet, Grandma. Like, I don't know. I go, you know what? We don't have a McDonald's here. You want to go to McDonald's? I'll take you to McDonald's. So she's like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. So then my son-in-law's like, I'm going to go sign her out. You go get her stuff from the classroom. And then you can take her. I said, okay. My granddaughter's urgency to leave. By this time, it's about, I don't know, maybe 10:30, 10:45. Because we're still there. We're talking and doing all this stuff or whatever. So then my granddaughter is like, you know what, Grandma, don't go with me to the classroom. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, why? I have to go. She just wanted to go in and get out really quick. Like, I couldn't understand why she just wanted to hurry up, get me out. That was her mentality that day. And she didn't want me to go in her classroom. I said, I have to go in your classroom because I have to talk to your teacher and I have to let her know that you're coming with me because if not, they're going to be looking for you and they don't even know where you're at. And I remember going to her classroom and she checks the door and it's locked and she's knocking on the door. And then I look at her and I'm like, I go, why is it locked? And she goes, Grandma, they have to lock the doors. I'm like, wow, that's dumb. My word.
Right.
That is so dumb. Like, it's a award ceremony. Parents are coming in and out of the school. You know, it's the last days of school. I mean, I didn't register. You know. So she waits. They open the door for her. She goes in, and I go in after her. And I told her teacher that I'm going to take her with me. And her teacher is like, oh, okay. And she's looking at me, right? And I told her, I said, I'm not mom. I'm the grandmother. I'm Ariana's grandmother. And then she goes, oh, okay. She goes, that's fine. She goes, well, nice to meet you, whatever. Because I hadn't been in her school this year that passed. So we were there. We talked for a little bit, the teacher and I. And she got her stuff. She goes, let's go, Grandma, let's go. So we left. We left there at by this time it was about maybe 11. I take off and I tell her, okay, we can go to Eagle Pass or we can go to Hondo. Where do you want to go? She goes, no, Grandma, let's just go to Hondo. And I said, okay. I said, well, then I'll take you to get a Starbucks because she loves Starbucks. So I said, we'll do Starbucks and we'll stop and take one to your mother and then we'll take off. And she goes, okay, Grandma. She was really quiet the whole trip. I was trying to get her to talk to me. And I had thought that she's still upset with Grandma because I missed the whole interview, whatever.
Right.
Her whole her whole award ceremony. I talk to my daughter. I leave her Starbucks and her coffee and we take off. We have a girls' road trip on my Apple Play. And we listen to our music and we're singing and I'm singing and I'm trying to get her to join me. But she's really upset with Grandma, you know?
Right.
So, but her mood and her vibe is different. It's not That's not the Ariana I knew. You know, that day something was off. I didn't know what it was. You know, I really thought she was just upset with me. We get to Hondo and they don't let us eat. In Hondo, you cannot eat in the restaurant. You can order inside, but you can't eat there.
Okay.
So I told her, you know what? I said, they have a really cute park here. I'll take you to the park. We'll eat there. And then we can go home. Like, we're going to cruise home. Like, we're not in a hurry. So she's like, okay, Grandma. So we get our meal. We take it to go. We get to the park, and her and I were there. We're talking, and I'm telling her how she's feeling. Is she okay? She goes, yeah, I'm okay, Grandma. She goes, I just feel, I don't know. I said, you don't even want to talk to me? Are you that mad at me? She goes, no, Grandma, I'm not mad at you. I said, are you sure? She goes, yeah. And I was like, all right. And then she's going through her phone, and I start going through social media, through Facebook, and I see that the school Robb is on lockdown. That's all I know. At this time, it's 12.
Mm-hmm.
It was 12 o'clock when I saw it. And I just put on my Facebook prayers for UCISD because I didn't know. I thought, again, I thought it was a bailout. School is on lockdown. They said all the kids are safe. The school is on lockdown. I shared that. I get a phone call from my daughter, and she says, Mom, I always put her on speaker because there's nothing that we can't talk about in front of the girls.
Yeah.
I put her on speaker, and I'm like, hey, sweetheart. And then she goes, Mom. And I said, yes. She goes, there's an active shooter. There's a shooter at Robb. And I'm like, what do you mean at Robb? She goes, Mom, he's locked in one of the classrooms. And I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah, Mom. And I was like, I said, are you sure, Carrie? She goes, yeah, Mom. She goes, it's everywhere. They're trying to go get their kids out of the school. And I just felt my heart drop. My knees went from under me. I was standing up because I was already getting our stuff together because we were going to get ready to go back home.
Right.
And I remember just my knees came from under me. And my granddaughter's like, Grandma, you okay? I said, I'm okay. And then my daughter's like, Mom, what happened? I go, nothing, sweetie. I'm okay. I said, you need to go to the junior high and go get the girls from the junior high, which is my granddaughter and my little niece, which, my sister's granddaughter. Go get the girls from the junior high. I said, because this is not right. We need to have our kids together. And she's like, okay, Mom. She leaves her work. She tries to go get my granddaughter from junior high. And the whole schools, all of them are on lockdown that day. And they don't let her get her out of the school. Now, mind you, the principal, the vice principal, the counselors, they know us. They know us on a personal level. I have volunteered a lot with the junior high. With my oldest granddaughter, I'm always volunteering with whatever she's doing at school. I'm there to help. And when the principal looked at my daughter and said, I can't give her to you because we are on lockdown. She was like, is she safe? And they said, no, yeah, the kids are safe here. They're okay. She says, Mom, they're not giving me Ellie or Izzy. They're not giving me the girls, Mom. I said, why? She goes, Mom, because everybody's on lockdown. They won't let us get our kids. And I thought to myself, that is the most stupidest thing. The less kids there are at the school at that point in time, the better it should be.
Right.
Well, parents were showing up to try to get their kids out, but the school would not release our kids to us. Like, there's no way that anybody could go to each and every person's individual home and cost, take our kids from us at that point.
Right.
Not from our home.
Right.
Not from our home.
And just real quick, Lulu, to pause, because you were talking about taking your granddaughter out of the school. Was she at Robb?
Yes, my granddaughter is at she's a
Okay.
Robb student.
So that's why all this time that this was happening, not knowing, you were just a few minutes ahead of that shooter showing up.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Just a few minutes ahead of him. So I'm coming. My granddaughter is on her phone. I still have 2 little nephews at Robb, which are my nieces. My daughter's 2 grandsons.
Mm.
My niece is there. My sister is there. They don't let them through. And they're at Robb. These are the kids at Robb.
Right.
We still have 2 more kids at Robb, and they don't let us get the kids. My sister's trying to get to the kids. My niece is trying to get to the kids. My niece has really bad anxiety and panic attacks. So my sister's trying to calm her daughter. You need to stay calm. You need to stay cool. We're going to get the boys. We're going to get them out. I'm coming from Hondo. I always come on the fast lane. I don't drive fast, but I like that side of the road better because it's a lot more smoother. Because nobody's supposed to technically drive on it, right? Whatever, I don't care. So I like to drive on it. Well, I'm driving on it, and I see a cop coming behind me with lights on. I could see him about half a mile, and I move over to the side. His lights are on, and he's going at least 110 miles an hour on Highway 90.
Wow.
This cop is from Castroville. Then I start seeing cops from Hondo, cops from San Antonio, just coming at 110 miles an hour plus.
Wow.
On 90. So I move over and I give them all the leverage. I get into Sabinal and these cops are just coming. You're talking about troopers, police officers, border patrol. I start seeing helicopters, ambulance, but more than anything, officers from the whole area, from San Antonio to Castroville to Hondo, Sabinal. What else did I see? It was just cops. Everybody was just going to Uvalde. My granddaughter's on her phone and she's like, Grandma, they're saying that that all the kids are going to the Civic Center to pick up the kids at the Civic Center. Tell my mom to look at to go to the Civic Center and pick up the boys. So then I'm looking at her and I'm like, how do you know this? Hello, that's how the teachers communicate to the students, is through email. Everything is done via email. Everything is done to the kids. They have a I don't know what it's called. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like alerts and updates.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
My daughter was getting them, but since my granddaughter has to turn in homework that way, she has it on her phone.
Right.
She has questions, she emails, or she's able to get these. I don't know if the teachers didn't realize that they were sending it also to the children, or who they were sending the stuff off to, but they were telling everybody, all the parents, to pick up your children at the Civic Center. So I called my daughter. I said, they're saying to pick up the kids at the Civic Center. And my daughter's like, Mom, we can't find Julius. We saw Jason. He got in the bus. We can't find Juju. And I'm like, oh my God, right? My sister, my niece, at this point, we're losing it. I start praying. The minute I left Hondo, you need to understand, I am of Christian faith and I believe in God. I mean, my faith for God is just so high.
Right.
I prayed all the way. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anybody to. I just prayed to God that everybody was safe. I prayed and I said, Dad, please, I know you're in heaven. Like, I need you. You need to come down and you need to help us. because this is not something we can do. And I'm praying and praying. I'm keeping it together. I'm not crying because I have my 9-year-old granddaughter, so I have to be strong for her.
Right.
I can't lose my cool. I have to stay focused. I need to stay together because my daughter, now she's the mother of the grandma. I have to stay back and let her do her motherly duties. You know how hard that is?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Super hard. They're there. We're just waiting to see our boys. Finally, Julius gets on very last bus.
Oh,
I get the phone call. We saw him. He's on the bus. My daughter's like, I'm over here at the Civic Center. Mom, we have mothers, single moms, a lot of single moms. When I tell you it takes a village, and the reason I told you everything I told you about my daughter, my kids, is because this is where it's all going to come full circle for your listeners. A lot of these single moms don't work in Uvalde because the pay is not that good.
Right.
So they work in condo. They work out over here at the Ox Ranch. We have mothers that work out of San Antonio where the pay is better.
Mm-hmm.
So my daughter has her friend saying, help me, Carrie, you're there at the Civic Center. Get my kids. Look for my kids and tell me if you find them. My daughter, at that point, everybody knows my daughter to be, this is Tia Carrie. This is how close this community is. My daughter went and she picked up kids. She wasn't on the roster to take them out. But because these kids knew her as Tia Carrie, she was able to grab everybody's kids that were asking her, look for my kid. Do you see my child? Is he there? Is she there? She's like, yes, I'm here. Who's the teacher? What were they wearing? Give me his full name. Because again, Punky, Lulu, that's how we know all these kids, is
Right.
by nicknames.
Right.
Okay, well, her name is, so she's going there, and everybody, all the kids that see Carrie, oh, that's my Tia Carrie, that's my Tia Carrie. So the teachers are releasing the kids to Tia Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
So my daughter has pretty much 2 or 3 classrooms of kids, that belong to her friends. The weekend before, my daughter, my youngest, had graduated from college. She got her MA. And we had gone with my daughter's sister-in-law, and we celebrated at Applebee's and all that. Her son knows me. Well, he met my daughter for the first time that weekend. So fell in love with her, Tia Carrie. We told him this is a Tia. His mom works out of Del Rio. We need his full name. What was he wearing? Who's his teacher? He sees Carrie, and the teacher says, do you know her? He says, yes, this is my Tia Carrie. So he hugs her, and she's holding him, like these kids are holding on to her. Wow. and hugging her because they see safety, they see reassurance, they know they're safe.
Right.
So then my daughter's calling her friends, calling everybody that we know. Mothers are coming in from out of town. They pick up their kids, they hug. Of course, it's pure commotion outside. Everybody is here, somebody's missing. It's crazy. My daughter's like, Mom, please take Ari to her grandma because I have to go back to work. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. Mind you, they didn't let us get the oldest girls from middle school, from the Morales Junior High, which is not Morales Junior High. So we think everything is already over. As I drive and I drop off my granddaughter. I'm going to my daughter's house, and my daughter's like, Mom, Ariana wants to come home. Bring her to me. And I said, well, I'm almost at your house. She goes, I told her, you know what? don't worry. Like, I know she's stressing. I know she saw a lot of stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go get her. So I make a U-turn and I go back and I pick up my granddaughter. And as I'm coming with her, I get into my daughter's house and it's not over.
Mm.
It's not over. That nightmare wasn't over. I don't know who thought it was funny or thought it was okay to play on our community's tragedy. But they got calls that there was a shooter now at the Flores, which is the one on Getty.
Oh
There's
my
a
God.
shooter at junior high. There's a shooter at the high school. The cops, everybody that could leave the stations from Robb, take off to all the schools because we only have 7 schools in Uvalde.
Right.
One of them is not being one of them, they used it for teens that want to graduate early or whatever,
Right.
which is the Benson. So we really only have 6 schools.
We're going to continue on with the rest of this, but in case you all just missed what happened, I had no idea that while everything was going on at Robb, there were, albeit false, some people that were calling in active shooter threats to the high schools and the junior highs in Uvalde. So not only were the parents dealing with what was happening with Robb and law enforcement, they were also dealing with the fact that the other schools had now gotten threats. And it is very raw and very real from this point forward of this interview. So by, like Punkat said, if at any time you have to take a breather, go ahead. But this grandmother, yeah, so that is what Robb and I want. Like, there's a lot that needs to be told that we don't understand what they went through that day. It makes me emotional still. And one of the fact is that their entire town, city, whatever, it's very small. Some idiot, let's just name it, idiot, felt that it would be funny or whatever sick, twisted thing they got out of this to call in these threats to the other school. And keep in mind, she still has granddaughters that were in the junior high at this point. So I'm going to go back. Sorry, y'all. I wanted to make sure you heard that because that is not anything at least I didn't know that before today.
Schools that our kids go to. So that everybody that's at the Robb, they all take off and they're going to the schools. I have people. My niece is a cop. My friends, my sisters were teachers. So my mind is racing. You start hearing a cop got shot. I have another niece that she works at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
She's a nurse there. Cops got shot. You're hearing all these rumors. All this stuff is happening. My mind is racing. They're saying that there's a shooter at Morales Junior High.
Oh my God.
I am trying, and I'm so upset because I'm trying to get information. You turn on your local. We had a radio station in Uvalde. So you're like, the radio station here knows what's going on. I turn it on. Oh no, they have music going on.
Oh my God.
Nothing but music. Nobody was reporting what was going on, what they were seeing. We're blinded. We are blinded at home. My daughter's like, my sister called my daughter and my niece and said, they're saying that there's active shooters. Take off. Where are the girls? My daughter goes and picks up my niece, and they take off to the junior high. I have to stay back, Punky, because I have the little ones. I have the 3 kids from Robb. We get all the kids. All the kids are safe. So we had taken a breather to find out that there could be a possibly active shooter at Robb. My granddaughter is texting my daughter. I'm scared. I'm scared. Mom, where are you? My daughter's like, sweetie, I can't get to you. I'm right here. I'm right outside. She's trying to get her daughter. The cops don't let her get her daughter. They're telling her that you have to be in your vehicle to get your kids.
Wow.
Well, they blocked in my daughter. This is at Morales. So you know how there's that U circle that comes around in front of the school. So my daughter had got off. My daughter and my niece had got off the vehicle to go and sign out the girls, but they didn't let them. They said, you have to come in a vehicle. You don't have a vehicle, you can't get your kids out. So all the parents blocked in my daughter. Well, since my daughter helped out some of her friends were in line. And they're like, come with me. My car is parked right there. Come with me. So you see parents stacking up in SUVs and trucks because they're already in line. Everybody wants to get to their kids.
Wow.
I text my granddaughter. I'm like, baby, are you okay? She's like, yeah, Grandma, I'm okay. I'm just so scared. And I'm like, okay, sweetheart. I also have my other son-in-law. My son is working this day. My son is working in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
My son-in-law, the girl's dad, he's taking a test in San Antonio. I have no brothers. You know that you just have 4 girls. So the men in my life are here. I have one son-in-law that comes from San Antonio, which is my youngest babies. They'll be married in December. He rushes to us. He's here. He's my support. He's my rock. He's here with me. He's taking care of me. He helps me calm down. He says, okay, you're okay. I'm here. He says, but I feel like Carrie needs me. Are you going to be okay if I leave you, Suegra? Are you going to be okay? And I said, I'll be okay. I said, go take care of my Carrie. Because if anything happens, she can't. These girls, my niece, my Carrie, they can't be alone. Unless they need a male figure to defend them. He was going to be the one. So he goes to the school. They close off the whole block. And these are big blocks because the junior high and the high school are pretty much connected. So he parks off his truck. He takes off to go try to find her. It's chaos everywhere. Our daughter's packed up in an SUV in a Ford Explorer with her best friend, one of her best friends, Dana, and they're in line waiting for the girls. I'm texting my granddaughter. She's telling me she's scared, and I can't be there. I can't be there to protect my daughter, my niece, my girls. I'm at home. And I said something to my granddaughter that I never thought I would have to tell her. Never. And I told her, baby, you listen to me. You listen closely. Your mama and your tia Didi are right outside those doors. I said, you see your mom. I don't care that you lose your backpack. We will pay for your backpack. We'll pay for the iPad. We'll pay for your phone. We don't care. We care about you. You need to get to me. You need to get home to us. You need to see your mom. When you see your mom, Do not run in a straight line, sweetheart. Please. I want you to zigzag left to right. Whatever falls, falls. I don't care.
Mm.
I said, please, please, listen to me. Remember this. You run left and right as fast as you can till you see mama. Once you see your mom, you run to her and you're safe. We're going to protect you. We got you, baby. We got you. You need to find Izzy. Make sure Izzy's okay. She goes, I don't see Izzy. And then I said, okay, well, text her. Let her know. So Izzy is waiting in another part of the school. It's just a waiting game for them to release our kids.
Right.
My daughter sees the principal and she tells him, if you would have just given me my girls, we wouldn't have been here. We wouldn't have had to feel this anxiety, this hurt, this. We wouldn't have had so much emotions that day.
Yeah.
They apologized and said, these are the rules. These are the policies. We have to follow them. Finally, we get my granddaughter home. We have all the kids there. By this time, my sister's on the road. My oldest sister and her husband, they're on the road to meet us. My sisters all get together at my daughter's house. We have all the kids, and we have all the kids outside playing. And we're just listening to the news and seeing what's going on. My granddaughter comes in and she says, Grandma, she's telling her mom, she goes, Mom, why are there, my granddaughter's name is Eliana.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, Mom, my friends are saying that they're looking for me at the Civic Center. This is about 7:30 already, 8 o'clock.
Right.
And then I'm looking, my daughter looks at her, she goes, why would the school be looking for you if I signed you out? She goes, well, everybody's looking for me at Robb. People are looking for me at Robb.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here confused. And then my daughter clicks and she says, baby, there's 2 Ellies that are missing from Robb.
Mm.
It's not you, sweetheart. So then my granddaughter texts her friends, and because all her friends are texting her because they know her as Ellie.
Right, right.
And she tells them, oh, they're not looking for me. They're looking for 2 other little girls that are named Eliana and Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's when we get the news that little Ellie Garcia and Eliana Torres were the ones that they had been looking for
Right.
that night, that how that happened. But that is just something that that day came full circle in Uvalde. We had everybody was everybody's tia, everybody was everybody's tío. Everybody was trying to help families as much as they could, because again, there's a lot of single mothers out here that have to work out of Uvalde because Uvalde doesn't pay well.
Yeah.
So they work in San Antonio, like I said, in Eagle Pass and Del Rio, and where they get paid more. Some of these moms have 2 jobs to be able to make ends meet. And that day, everybody was family. That day, we lost 19 children. We lost 2 teachers. We lost friends. It's it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would have to tell my granddaughter how to survive a shooting in Uvalde.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I got to tell you, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that, because you just gave a perspective that you're not hearing on the news. You're not hearing about the other stuff that was going on. The fact that they were saying there was more shootings at other schools, and then you're having to go through this pain of not knowing what's going on over here. And the fact that you're really giving a feel of how the community came together. It's one thing to say, oh, the community came together, but you're actually showing how that happened. And that's a story that does need to be told.
Yes.
Now, having said that, let's look towards the future. And I think this is the message that I really want the world to hear. Just because, just in your story alone and what you were saying, I think this proves that Uvalde is going to come out of this stronger and closer than ever because of that community and how it is. I mean, what do you think on that?
My thoughts on this is that we will. We're going to get through this. We're going to love one another. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care what life you went through. I've never been anybody to judge nobody. And I just want to say that we're all here for our kids. They're all our kids. There's a lot of things happening in the community. I don't go to a lot of things because I feel that the parents need to speak. The parents to these victims need to speak. The children that were left behind from the two teachers, they need to be the first ones to speak, not me.
Right.
I'm in the background. Like always. I'm in the back. I'm over here in the back. You do you. You need me to sign something, I'll sign. You need me to just show up, I'll show up, but I'm silent. I'm silent. You need me to speak for you, I can speak for you.
Right.
But when you call me, I'll be here. This is me. This is our community.
Right.
I'm not trying to go, and I want you to hear me because, no. Hear the moms. Hear the dads. Hear grandmas. Hear the tios. Because my son is very involved with my girls. We're all very involved with them. They're the ones that are super, even though I'm hurting, I cannot even imagine their hurt.
Yeah.
Never. But I'm here. I signed whatever. They need me to show up. Hey, we just need an extra person to fill the seat. Lulu, can you do it? Yeah, I'll do it. That's what I'm here for. I'm at the background. I'm there. They might not see me, but I'm there, because I'm not one to try to be. I'm not trying to take anybody's place. I'm just trying to be there. That's all we can do. But you know what? We are strong. We are loyal. We are true. This is who we are. And that day, like I said, we were all family. We were all tias. We were tios. We were grandparents. The chaos was crazy. We were invaded by media, by people from other countries, how they look down on us, how they say stuff about us. You don't think it hurts? It does. Because all those cops, whatever they did or didn't do, I know them. I went to school with them. Some of them are kids that went to school with my kids. I don't love them any less. Okay. We're all family at the end of the day, and we are going to show this world exactly what this little bitty community of maybe 20,000 people can do. And we will. Right now, we're hurt, and we're confused, and we're sad, and we're angry. But we're going to prevail because now more than ever, people are praying in my community. I see prayer. I see God being involved now. I see people praying at the plaza, at the Robb. We have pastors that are coming and praying over our community. And it's not going to be in our time. It's going to be in God's time. God's going to heal. God is listening. And we just have to be still and hear him and know that he is God and he's almighty. And I know he's going to come through. He always does.
That's right. He does. Lulu, thank you so much for sharing your story, for saying those words. Man, very, just in my opinion, everything you said is very inspirational. I love that it's very much full of love, because you just said something that I didn't even think about. My mom mentioned it to me about a week ago, and then I quickly forgot. But you said something that brought it back to remembrance, and that's I like the police officers that were in there, right? Like, I know everybody's mad, which is
Yeah.
understandable, but
Mhm.
how do they feel? You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we haven't stopped to think about how are they coping with this? What if there was a bunch of them that wanted to go in there and do their thing, but were told not to, and now they're living with this guilt,
Guilt.
and here we are bashing the hell out of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're
Mhm.
right. Right now, what's needed is love. You know,
Yeah.
I understand the anger. I understand the hurt. I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
Mhm.
But we don't need more anger. We need hurt. I mean, we don't need more hurt. We need love right now. And
Yeah,
so
we do.
I thank you so much for those words, for what you said, because I think you hit the nail on the head right there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I do appreciate it. So before I let you go, I do want to say this. I will be in town on the
every time. So that gosh, it changed my perspective in a couple ways. Is that I want to be more careful about how I word things on here, and because she's right. There are police officers that did want to go in, and they're living with the guilt. Um, and if you remember what Alfred said, he said we have to handle it with dignity, because if we don't, the wrong people are going to get held accountable. We have to let it work, right? We have to let the process work. It doesn't mean that we can't be angry. Um, it just means I want to be careful about the way that I say things on here, and that I give everybody a chance. This woman, so I don't know why we the media never reported what went on at the other schools that day. I don't know why, if it wasn't juicy enough for them to share. I mean, you would think that that would have been a story that would have been told. This poor grandmother was telling her granddaughter how to stay alive. That entire community has been inflicted with trauma right now. She The entire community thought there was shooters at every school. Like, I don't understand why the media, like she said, I mean, they were there, what, guys, within 20 minutes, right? They were pouncing, and they all wanted the I just said this to Rob today, right? They all wanted their big stories. They all wanted to get the kids to speak in the interviews, and to, get this cute, this darling child having to tell what they just survived. But guess where they all are now? Where are they all now? They've gone home, or they've gone on to the next horrific story. This is insane. I mean, it's exactly that. Did they want an actual shooter at these other schools to report on it? But this is exactly what Rob said to me. He wants stories like this, that is going to tell the truth about what this community endured that day. And Savannah, you just said in chat, how high are our fences? Fences? We don't have fences. And, and I'm guilty of it too, is looking at this community because of what we've heard in the media and saying, well, they're just this poor community, and they're in poverty. Like, they're real people that I have been guilty of judging in some ways, and it is hurtful to them. And that all this was going on, well, the police, and well, there actually was an active shooter at Robb Elementary, is is astounding. Like, where? And you have to remember, guys, Robb lost his cousin. Robb's cousin, I will back you have my word. Please reach out to me by email if you want to just vent sometime, or if you need my number or something. I'm dumbfounded right now. Robb lost Ileana, which is, for him to do this, you guys. I get choked up. He's a good man. He sends this to me every time, says, go ahead, share these interviews. He's amazing on these interviews. And I just, that this was never reported. And who did it? Who did it? Who in the right mind were sick enough to think that it was funny? This poor grandmother was walking into her house thinking she had her baby safe or her granddaughter safe, only to find out that her other granddaughter could have possibly had an active shooter, and they could not get to their children. And no one, oh, I can't, you guys, no one should ever have to feel that way. And so, yeah, I'm going to keep talking about it. I don't care if there's 20 or there's 2,000 people in here. I won't stop talking about it, because right here, Bex, because she's from Uvalde and she felt like she could come in here. And this community needs our support. They aren't this poor little community. They are a community that is probably stronger than any of our communities, because what they went through that day, and the fact that they're still standing and they're still loving on each other, man, I hope my community's that. I would like to think my community was like that if this happened. Man, my girls are working with our church to make. That's awesome. Bless Lulu. That's awesome. I mean, they're a month away from starting school again, and they have no answers. They have no answers of how their kids are going to be kept safe in a month. I believe I saw that it starts September 6th this year. They have no idea right now how they're keeping their children safe. They go to board meetings, they go to town meetings, they go everywhere they can just searching for answers. And now I understand a little bit more of how many true victims there were that day, because that entire town, in my opinion, were victims. I Yes, I did, Savannah. So this interview was really good. I thanked Robb up and down for doing this, because, and again, his podcast I'll put in the description is, uh, in my opinion with Robb T. And he keeps these interviews as he does them coming to me. And I think I've been disgusted with the media. You know, we were disgusted when we found out they leaked the video. And I think I'm even more disgusted with the media, because they are, Jules, because I feel they purposefully have not shared pieces of this story because it doesn't fit this special juicy narrative or whatever they want. Because the world needs to know that that entire community was in mass chaos finding their children that day. Yeah, Savannah. I just and we need to pray for each other in here too, as well as Uvalde, because there's a lot of people in here and the other night and tonight that have struggled with, am I gonna homeschool this year? Am I gonna not? And stuff like that. Do what your heart is telling you. Just like Alfred said, if your kid doesn't feel safe, homeschool a while. You know, I, Yeah, I'm sorry. The only word I can think of is juicy, because I feel like they did that. They bombarded, they all had their tears when it first happened. They all grabbed on any kid they could get to share their story, and then they all just hopped off, and that's it. We don't know the rest of the story. We don't know what went on in that town that day. But now we do. Now we're starting to hear what happened. And you know what? Now we're hearing about how these people feel about what's going on now. And that was super humbling for me. It is, Jenny. It is. It really was. No, Pamela, I go back and forth. Both my kids are, um, they play a couple grades up in sports, so I mean they really want to. I do know our school did a lot this summer for a lot of security measures. They put all bulletproof doors and windows in, and I know there's a lot of security measures that went into place this summer, and that there's going to be a parent meeting. So I do think, and they've hired more resource officers. So I do think they have been very active. So I feel a little bit better about that, knowing that they're being proactive. Yeah, I know, Lynn. I know you do. Yeah, exactly, bless Lulu. And for somebody to think that, we'll see him, Pamela, that's why I trust your gut, sister. I know you've been going back and forth, but you know what? It sounds like you've already made up your decision, and you just trying to like accept it. None of us judge you. If you feel that's safer and your kid feels that safer, like Alfred said, do it. Do it for a while until they feel safe. Until you feel safe. If your school, listen, if your school, guys, is not being proactive in security and helping you feel more secure after what happened at the end of school last year, then I do not blame you at all for keeping your kids home. At all. At all. Because your school should be proactive right now. It's all there is to it. Yeah, and who did it? Who called those in? Who I don't know. I've never felt more convinced that the media ran with certain stories and certain narratives than I do right now after listening to that woman. And I think it's disgusting. And I've already banned the one news that leaked the video, so I know, Pamela, but you know what? I think in your heart, you already know what the right decision is for you and your son right now. You just haven't wanted to do it because you're afraid of making the wrong decision. But I think, I mean, what, yeah. You're not annoying, Pamela. It's not an easy decision to make because you don't want your kids to be afraid of the world. But at the same time, it's our job as parents to make sure that we're keeping them as safe as possible. And right now, if your school is not being proactive, and it doesn't sound like they are, then do what you got to do to make sure that your kids are safe. I guarantee you, Pamela, you are not the only parent right now going, what do I do? What do I do? And that's not to say in 2 months you're not going to find out that your school is actually doing something to be proactive. Exactly, Savannah. And Pamela just said the other night that her son doesn't want to go back. And see, bless Lulu's here. I mean, if my kids weren't so involved in upper level sports, and even if they were, they really do want to go back. But I have also known the amount of money our school put in this summer to make it more secure. And so I do feel more comfortable. So, Jules, I think they do. I think that was one of the things that Uvalde was pushing for is they just wanted to know the option for virtual because in my understanding, Texas doesn't have that offer anymore, but I don't know, so don't quote me on it. But they wanted to know that that was an option for them. It's not an option at my school right now to be virtual. Um, you would basically be homeschooled. That would be what your title is, and you'd have to, transfer out or whatever. So I think what the community is wanting is that option to be able to say you're still enrolled in school, but it's going to be virtually. And good Lord, they deserve that option. Like that, to me, that's a no-brainer. Yeah, Savannah, exactly. And she's been talking about it. And I think she made her decision, but it helps to talk it through for sure. But all right, yeah, well, I'm gonna hop off. I need to take a shower. I don't know why I smell. And thank you again, Rob, for letting us. And like I said, he's gonna come on next Thursday and share a little bit of his story with his cousin and what it was like losing her. Um, and what it's been like for them and stuff. And then we're kind of going to do some lives on Thursday nights about this and make sure we keep this story going. Okay, Pamela. Yep. They should, Savannah. All right, yeah, well, I'll see you later. Thanks, guys. Thanks for making Bex feel so welcome as well. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.